All right, one more match. Dustin Rhodes with Brandy versus Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford. And I'm thinking at least Brandy has a purpose here tonight. Now I know why she's coming out to the ring. She's going to offset the evil female in the heels corner, Penelope Ford, right? And certainly they'll do a spot to pop the viewers at home at the end of this match.
Certainly.
And I figured with Dustin involved, this is going to make sense. It's going to be okay. Dustin is in incredible shape. Out of respect for him, I actually stuck with this show after Pockets because I saw Pockets and then they teased MJF was going to talk. I said, okay, I'll watch it and then turn it off. But then they plugged that Dustin was coming up. Okay, because normally I would have left the show after Pockets and the fucking AIDS kid. But I wanted to see MJF. Now I want to see Dustin. So it was out of respect to him. And Dustin to me is like Barry Windham. He moves so smooth in the ring and he doesn't get fucked up. And if there's a bobble, he goes with it and turns it into something and you don't notice. Guess what else I noticed about Kip Sabian in this match? Did you notice this also? He is doing the prissy prancy fucking Olivier shit. Did you see at one point when he and Dustin were doing something and he turned away from Dustin. He turned his back on Dustin and he took the exaggerated running step thing and then turned around and got and away we go like the Jackie Gleason vaudeville off the stage and starts running back toward. He looks like fucking Kenny Olivier with his prissy prancy fancy dancing. They're all doing this now. The independent wrestlers, they do this thing where they've fucking hit a guy with something he didn't go down, so they turn their back on him only a foot away, but they turn their back on their opponent and they exaggeratedly run to the ropes and exaggeratedly run back or whatever. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, Kip Sabian is small. He is small next to Dustin. He's got a fucking bland haircut, a bland face, and he looks like a fucking, as I said, a bank teller. And then they do a spot where Penelope is choking Dustin right in front of Brandy, and Brandy goes over, you get away now. The first thing you do when you have a babyface and heel manager, because I've both booked them and I've been one of them, and I know how babyface managers get buried. You tell the heel manager under no circumstances until the finish when it's called for, do you fucking interfere? Because it will bury the fucking babyface manager unless he does or she does something then, and it's not time for them to do anything. Or maybe you get a cheap shot and the fucking babyface manager runs around and chases the fucking heel all the way around the ring. Or makes some kind of progress. You can't just let the damage be done and then just stand there and go to the referee. Well, he did it. I've been in that position and it feels like shit when you can't do anything about it. So buried Brandy. Then they go to the break. Should have saved it for the fucking finish. But with the finish they did, I digress. When they come back from the break, Sabian's getting heat on Dustin's leg. The match made perfect sense. Dustin, I'm sure, was leading this, but he kept it interesting. On the comeback, then they went into a long back and forth. Dustin was doing everything he could to make Kip Sabian a top guy. And I'm not saying that Kip Sabian work-wise wasn't keeping up his element of his end of the ball game. It's just he just looks 12. But Dustin was doing everything he could to make this guy a main event guy. But suddenly, after this match, which was one of the better matches on AEW television I've seen, which made perfect sense, which even if it did feature a fucking 12-year-old, it was fucking moving and everything was being done in the right way. You love the finish. Suddenly, Kip Sabian takes referee Aubrey to the corner and just is holding her there. And Dustin starts selling in slow motion in limbo in one place because the girls have to get into it. But instead of a deal where the heel girl Penelope tries to get in the ring and Brandy, the babyface, pulls her down and they get in a cat fight on the floor and pop the people at home because there ain't no people in the building, and maybe the referee is distracted by that. Sabian's got referee Aubrey in the corner. Dustin's selling in one place. The girl's getting a shoving thing outside, and then suddenly Penelope Ford rolls in the ring and just takes off running. and runs and hits the far ropes and comes back, but Brandy has rolled in and it jumped up and runs past Penelope. So if Penelope runs past, Brandy's running past her, Brandy hits the ropes. And when Penelope turns around, Brandy hits a spear on Penelope. I guess a spear is Brandy's move. People think of the spear, they think of Goldberg and Brandy Rhodes. And then the spear, and then they roll away. They didn't have to fucking hit the ropes 5 times. They didn't have to. The referee is obviously being held, and here's all this shit going on, and can even see the ropes being hit and moving, and doesn't turn around these girls in the fucking ring doing this convoluted shit. Pull the fucking heel girl out and getting a cat fight on the floor. There was no need to do rope running spots 5 times in the middle of this fucking finish. And then after the girls rolled out, Sabian turned around, just left Dustin standing there, looked at him, and then turned around and looked like a dumb fuck at the girls on the floor so that Dustin could run past him, tap him on the shoulder on the way by to say, hey, I'm coming, and hit the ropes and do his own Canadian destroyer on Kip Sabian. 1, 2, 3. Fine match with an awkward, horrible, poorly pre-planned and piss poorly executed finish that the girls made fucking hokey. What'd you think?
I didn't really like any of the matches on this show. You summed up a lot of my thoughts. I knew they were going to do something with Brandy and Penelope when they were both out there. Once again, by the way, Brandy Rhodes will find a way to get on that show. One way
but
or
no,
another.
But at least there was a reason. There's a girl in the other corner. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I'm all for that. I can buy that. Protecting my brother-in-law against this fucking asshole's evil girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's running. Why don't they just do relay races on their fucking show?
Yeah. When I saw her roll in the ring and just start running and hitting the ropes, I'm like, what are they? And then Brandy rolls in and starts hitting the fucking ropes. And they're just running around in this fucking, in the middle of the finish of this fucking match with the referee supposedly just, oh, fucking hell. It just, they have to make it complicated. They have to do the same thing that they've been doing for the majority of their careers. I'm not talking about Dustin now. I'm talking about these guys that came straight from the indies. They did all these things off television in small buildings for smart crowds, as they say, all this time, and suddenly, which in that atmosphere, that's the people that want silly, goofy fucking wrestling. And if you've gone to the fucking VFW hall with 300 other people to see independent wrestling, you're going to see a lot of worse, stupider shit than this these days, right? But that's what they think is going to get them over on a mainstream basis, and none of it is. And they ain't figured it out yet. And I know there's a pandemic, but they have fewer viewers now than they had when they started. But you know what? Before there was a pandemic, they still had fewer viewers than when they started. They certainly don't have more. They have less. Why? Because the same people who knew what they were fucking getting with Laurence Olivier and Pockets and the Young Fucks and the whole goddamn clown crew, they're the ones that's still there. They haven't made one goddamn new fan. And if they have made one goddamn new fan that didn't know anything about any of these people before they went on television, it's been because of the efforts of Chris Jericho, to some extent Cody, and some to Moxley. Otherwise, they got the same group that they had at the beginning, which is the small amount of people that want to see nerd bullshit, cosplay, funny, gaga wrestling. Somebody prove me wrong.